You're welcome, guys, to the What the Hell Are We Doing podcast. Today we're interviewing an amazing influencer, Colin Borden. He's a famous producer. He's on the cast of Darman, and today we're interviewing him. So let's get right into it. Um, give us 1 second. Hello, Colin. How are you doing? Tell, pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm very well, thank you.
So yeah, go ahead and tell the audience about yourself and what you've been doing.
Oh gosh, my name's Colin A. Borden. I probably why I'm here is I'm an actor in the Dar Man series on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and I don't know where people come from all over the place. I've been doing Dar videos for about 2 years, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun to kind of watch the whole company grow. When I first started, it was just a couple of us. We would go to Dar had an office in downtown Los Angeles, and we just kind of go to the office, and that became people's living rooms and office spaces and kitchen, like anything that they needed, they just kind of put into that little space. And now they have a studio, and we have sets and lights and a huge company of actors, and it's crazy.
Awesome. So how'd you get into influencing?
I don't know if I'm an influencer. I don't know if I would say that. I just through pure luck of being on Darman, people have been following me on Instagram. Yeah, I'm loving it, but I don't know what to do with it.
So, what's one thing you wish you'd known
And then
before getting into acting and exploring your career of a cast member of Darman?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
Yes, what's one thing you wish you'd known before exploring your role as an actor and for a cast member on Darman?
What's one thing I wish I knew before? Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, technically been acting since I was in like third grade. Um, I did. I just did community theater, and then I got into doing some professional acting, and then I ended up going to like a performing arts high school, uh, and then decided to take a little break from acting to do work, focus more on directing and like making movies. Um, and so, gosh, what would I don't know. It's worth it. Keep going. You get a lot of like no's as an actor. You just tend to hear no a lot. You'll think you're like perfect for a job. I mean, think about like how often an average person goes out for a job interview, and I'm doing that like, ideally several times a week and never getting a job. So that I would probably caution myself to be prepared for that a little bit better, and incessant kind of rejection, and that it's just part of it. A lot of times you don't get a job because you're not the right height or hair color or anything like that. So often doesn't have to do with you, but you still feel it in your soul that you didn't get it. So that's, yeah, I might tell myself that.
Okay, on the talk about jobs, what was your first job?
As like a professional actor,
Yep.
I did a play in Philadelphia, where I'm from, at the Arden Theater Company there. They just decided to start doing a children's theater program, not using necessarily kid actors, but theater for kids. And they did this big production of Charlotte's Web, and I was in that. I played Avery in that. It was very cool. They did it all with like puppets and things. It was cool, like just as a theatrical experience. And then I booked a couple of commercials out there in Philadelphia, and, but yeah, more recently, moved out to LA with my now wife, and we worked in the production side of things. And then she is much better than I am, and took off much faster than I did, and that brought us to New Mexico, where she was working as an assistant director, and I tagged along with her and kind of went crazy because like I didn't know anybody and I was kind of bored. And she told me like, look, just go out for this play. Um, Go see what happens. You know, you get in, you get in. That's great. If you don't, you don't. That's fine. But why not try? And I thought, yeah, why not try? So I did that, and that kind of reignited this little bug in me. And since then, I've been kind of bebopping and scoop-bopping all over the place. I got a part in Better Call Saul. That's probably the only other interesting part.
So tell us about this new video of you on Darman and the deeper meaning behind it. Because I've seen your Instagram post, and did your teacher help you with that dyslexia? And how'd you overcome it?
No, no, I don't have dyslexia. That was so this video is about dyslexia, and I was really pumped about that because, a lot of the Darmans that I do tend to be domestic involvement. Like it's usually me and Catherine Nordland, husband and wife. I love working with Catherine. She and I have just a really good chemistry with each other. We just know how to kind of play off of each other. But now, every now and then, Dar is kind of throwing out these kind of more exciting, like I get to play a lawyer, I get to play a, something like that. And so the opportunity to play a teacher was really exciting. And then that the message was just like kind of extra more powerful, just saying like everybody, just because you have a learning disability does not mean that you are not smart. It just means that you learn differently. Really excited me. My mom is, she's a retired elementary school principal, and she worked for decades in special ed. So I got on the phone with her and I talked to her about the methods that they use to work with kids. And we chatted for a long time. And I know Dar and Rushi, the director of the episode, did their research. And so, we wanted to make sure that it was really as kind of accurate and honest as it could be, because it is something that a lot of people deal with, and we wanted to do that. And then they just happened to want the picture of me as a kid, and they thought it was my mother, but it turns out it was my teacher, who I had a really great relationship with, but didn't help me. She helped me learn algebra. I was not good at math at all, and she helped me very much learn algebra, and we became friends through that. But I don't have dyslexia in real life.
Okay, let's go. What do you do as a hobby, other than your acting and all that?
I play piano, and that's a really happy place for me, just to sit down at my piano at my home. And other than that, I have two little kids, 5 and 2, and they take up all available time and brain space that I have. I play D&D. I guess I should say that. I was, most things starts, I was in a play with this guy, and he's a dungeon master, and he kind of convinced me to do it, and it's a ball. Like, I've never played it before, and we're on our second campaign now, and it's just a lot of fun. We just do it kind of once a month.
So tell us more about this D&D you play.
Right now, I'm playing as a fighter. I played last time as a fighter. I played a Warforged fighter last time, and this time I'm playing as a fighter who's he's a sharpshooter. He was a circus performer as an archer, and then was introduced to guns. And his daughter was stolen by a group of evil druids, so he hates magic and all things that have to do with magic. And I kind of built this character thinking it'd just be kind of fun to play, not being totally aware of like the world of Dungeons and Dragons and how deep magic goes. And within the first couple seconds of our campaign, I turned on my party because they all had magic, and I've kind of become the heel of this group, and I'm kind of amazed every session where I don't die, and I'm not killed by my fellow party members because I'm just playing as like this 60-year-old curmudgeon who wants very much to just go home and not be there. And as a part to play, it's a lot of fun, but as a party member, it kind of a heel.
So
Do you
oh, what happened?
do you play D&D? Are you guys?
Oh, I have not tried it before. So
No.
we've talked about you playing on the N64. Was Sonic your first game you played on the N64, or was it Mario?
Oh gosh, Mario for sure. I mean, I got a Super Nintendo. I have an older sister and a younger brother, and my parents gave us collectively a Super Nintendo whenever that came out. And so yeah, Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart were seminal. Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter 2, just so important. My mom, like when we were all a little bit older, requested that we please play Super Mario because that sound made her think of Christmas always, and like it's just like kind of a comforting thought to listen to us play these video games. And then when Nintendo 64 came around, yeah, Mario and GoldenEye, probably obviously, just getting together with friends and doing slaps only, one person playing Jaws, one person playing Odd Job, and just trying to, make it work. And then doing like remote mines and time mines and just slaughtering each other for hours and hours and hours. Just, yeah, very happy, very, very happy times playing all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Are there any future projects you are working on?
Yeah, I'm gonna start directing a play, a virtual play, because that's kind of what we have to do now. That I'm excited about that. It's an Elizabethan tragedy, which will be kind of fun. Lots of big iambic pentameter and kind of stuff like that. I just wrapped on a feature film, acting in that, which will hopefully be out soon, and hopefully COVID will be kind of a little more under control, and I can like go like watch that in a theater. That would be rather exciting. But that's mostly it. Working on a musical, writing a musical with a partner of mine. Um, that's going pretty well. That's going to be good.
Fantastic. So we previously interviewed an actor
Yeah.
called Parker James Fulmer who played Billy Eilish. What are your thoughts on young actors and how do they inspire others?
Oh gosh. Well, young actors are to begin with very exciting because they keep that sense of play that older actors lose. One, just because they're old, and two, they become like really self-conscious. And you know, I mean, it's called playing a part. Like it's supposed to be fun, even if you're doing like a deep dramatic kind of thing. You are playing and making believe, and using your imagination. And a lot of times, I think older actors get really kind of hung up on technique and all that kind of like boring stuff, and they lose themselves. But a younger actor will come in and just play and just be and just emote and react naturally. So that's always really like Sophia is this crazy powerhouse of an actor. The first Dar Man that I did was with Catherine, Aiden, and Sophia, like really exciting Dar actors. And Sophia's job was the forgotten daughter. Like I'm the dad, and I love Aiden. I love both my kids, but man, Aiden is like fantastic, and like he's just so much better. And I don't even realize what I'm doing to my daughter is the whole story. And Sophia just wept for like the whole 12-hour day, and she just turns it on because that's just like she's just so kind of connected to her soul and herself, and it's just, and then she's chitter chatting, and like, okay, here we go, Sophia, and it starts coming. And it takes an older actor a little bit harder. They have to remain in a quiet place, and they have to to be gentle with them because they have a technique down, they have a process now, and they have to go through this. But these younger actors, they just pull it out, and they're funny. Aiden is hilarious to play around with and to work with. He and I were just we just did one. We were there at like midnight at the stage, just like doing silly voices and stuff like that. So I think it's great fun working with them. Did I answer the question? Was there like
you answered the question.
I think yeah, I think it's great.
So
they're just funny. They're just there to have fun, and it's good.
So tell us about your connection with Aiden Vinkes and your magical moments on set.
He's just a hoot. We like I said, my first one was with him, and he had already done several of them. Like I think Catherine had said something like this was her 10th, and she and Aiden had just done one the day before. Like they he was kind of already in the mix. But we call each other. He's my favorite son. I'm his favorite dad. And we have done several together. I don't know. I mean, what you see from, like, if you follow him on Instagram, that's who he is. Just this like funny little positive guy. Hey guys, how's it going? He's just kind of always there. He likes to play, and super professional to work with, which is enjoyable because one, we're sitting there playing, doing silly voices and stuff like that, and then the director says like, "Hey guys, here we go," and we both stop. We go into the dialogue, cut, and then we both do silly voices again. He's off book. He knows all of his lines. You tell him to make an adjustment, he makes an adjustment. So that is just joyous. Like, it's just so easy to go to work, and it's just so fun to go to work. When you have somebody like him who is there to play and there to work, he's not super serious about what he does. He's not, nor is Sophia, nor is Catherine, nor is anybody. To go off that, everybody on in this cast is so fun. I haven't worked with everybody yet. I like Vin Sander. I've only met him at a party. Chaz is super fun. Everybody shows up ready to work and ready to enjoy themselves, and that's like all you can kind of ask of. If somebody is too far in the direction, and like in either direction in that, that's when it sort of starts to become a little bit painful. Like if you're there to have too much fun, we're going to be here for hours, and we're not going to get done, and then nobody's going to get to go home. If you're there to work too hard, you're not really, like, we're here for 12 hours and you're kind of bringing me down. So like there's a kind of an interesting stew there to be made of being working in the movie business. You are subjected to a lot of people, a lot of personalities, and the work is hard, the work is long. It's very tiring for everybody, not just the actors, like the crew. They are there doing physical labor, like moving things around, like literally running from here to there to kind of get things set up. So if you don't have that little glimmer of joy in what you do, it really becomes a long day, and then you make it a long day for everybody else.
Okay. We've got a question in chat here from TotalTube5152. Why doesn't Colin try casting into a Hollywood film? He's a good actor.
Colin is trying to cast into a Hollywood film. It's not. I am trying. I don't know. Like I was kind of saying, you just, sometimes you're just not right for a part, and sometimes you are, and the other guy just happened to be better. So would it were up to me, I would be doing a lot more, but it is not up to me at all. But thank you very much.
So what accomplishment are you most proud of ever since you started your career as an acting, or even on Barman?
I could answer both. I mean, I think one of my favorite DARs is The one where I played a lawyer and Catherine was the gold digging wife. Um, because that was kind of the first foray into doing something that was a little bit different, not just like a domestic drama. I get to play a lawyer. My sister-in-law's a lawyer. I got to like have fun with her and like let her know what I was doing. We're playing in this big port rooms set. So that was just a lot of fun. Again, everybody's like so nice. Good way to spend a day. Um, and then we get to do a little bit of the drama back in the apartment. So it's just kind of like a nice mix of playing around. And this last one that just came out yesterday, the dyslexia one, makes me really proud because that one I really feel like is making a difference um, in a profound way. Because there are so many people that there are lots of people who have relationship issues, and that's a real bummer. It genuinely is a real bummer. But when there are things that are outside of your control that society kind of dings on you for, that's what's a bummer. And it's nice to know that there is a resource out there that people can point to and just like they can feel better about themselves. And that's what is good about Dar on the whole, is that there is this a mirror that you can kind of look at and go like, oh my god, that's me, and I had that issue, and they're telling me it's okay, and that makes me feel good and okay, and for however long I needed to work, and that makes me really happy. As far as outside of Dar, I just did a play a couple summers ago now, I guess, where I played a Klingon.
Clean.
Um, yeah, it was a big Elizabethan Shakespeare type production. We were speaking in iambic pentameter, but we had Klingon brows, and I fought with a botlet, and it was just a hoot. We had spaceship battles on stage. I fought. I played the villain, and I fought the hero in a zero gravity battle. It was astounding and a heck of a lot of fun to just like let her rip.
Yeah. So, this question comes from the people. There's certain things that happen on Darman that doesn't happen in real life. What would you say to those people who believe that from Dar?
Do you mean like the funny karmic coincidences, like where I
Yeah.
have my wife has cancer, so I leave her, and then I get cancer? Well, I think I heard I've only met Dar twice, um, but in speaking with him a little bit and speaking with the directors, this is everybody is aware that there are lots of big karmic coincidences. I call them little moral soap operas. Um, the audience is very vast. Like, it's a worldwide audience. Lots of people who don't necessarily speak English or who speak English well. Um, and so it is intentionally a caricature of a situation. And he is driving at a very specific point in a broad way so that the most amount of people can understand it and accept it and take it in. Yes, we all are aware. We read the scripts, and sometimes it's like, well, couldn't I just not also have been a janitor? No, it's going to be easy to kind of, okay, yeah, great. Let's do it. Let's do it. If this is what I mean, people are taking to it, so and it is in some way working. Um, but yeah, that is why so frequently things seem perfectly mirrored to each other, is because it is the most digestible version of this concept.
Okay. So, what are some of your favorite moments when you were directing?
Oh man, the best part about directing is that you are the surrogate for the audience. which means that you get to be the first audience member, which means that you get to sort of set up like um, you go out, you're the little pin monkey, and you go down the bowling lane and you put the pins in place, and then you pick up the ball and you walk over and you hand it to the bowler and you go, get a strike. And they wind up and they get a strike, and it is amazing. Like, it just feels so good to sit there and watch that have happened. Um, so you get to sit there. I like to sometimes I'm behind a monitor. Sometimes if I can get like right in front of the actors and like feel their energy and watch their performance, um, it's just so enticing to sit there and watch somebody go to work and take made up dialogue that they aren't saying, and take a weird situation that they aren't really in, and turn it into something that feels real, that feels authentic. And you get to watch so much of that that nobody else does, you know, and you're there for that. You're there for that moment. That's what I like about acting too, is like I get to be there for that. I am the immediate receiver of somebody's brilliant performance, you know, of somebody really trying something, of somebody going to work and doing it. And that's what is so exciting about all of it, is being there, being right there, smack dab in the middle of it. Somebody doing what they like to do and doing it well is brilliant.
And then
I could share an anecdote.
Sure.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to go. Would you like to tell us some of the stuff that you have directed in the past, or
Yeah,
will be in the future?
absolutely. I got there's a couple of short films that I've done that are really exciting. A short film called Scary Finger, about a guy whose finger comes to life and starts attacking him. A buddy of mine, Stafford Douglas, wrote, and I love that movie. That is hopefully going to be going into festivals and otherwise soon. We decided to sort of hold off on it until we can, you know, the world kind of makes a little more sense. A film I did called The Herd did pretty well for me. That's about a family of cannibals, which is almost a spoiler. But you can, I think if you Google me, you can find a lot of these things. I did a play recently, I guess kind of piggybacking off of the earlier question. It was a short play. It was only about 10 minutes. It was part of a big play festival of 10-minute plays. And the script is just sort of a little script about, Moment, what's it called? It's like cadaver photography. When they used to, in the 1800s, take photos of dead people so that they could have a lasting memory. It's a story about that, about a photographer who takes pictures of the dead, but also can bring them back to life. So he brings them back to life so as to properly set them up and take the best possible picture for their loved ones, and then they die again. And in this play, it wasn't scripted, but I found a moment to give the audience like a real rumination on death. And I did it with lighting and with sound and with quiet on the part of the cast. The first half of this play, there's jokes are flying and people are laughing, the audience is having a great time. I do this little moment, this beat, you could feel the audience, the energy in the room shift. Like I go and sit in the audience and watch it with this audience. The whole energy shifts in the room. And then it was like a whole another play, the second half. That was very exciting to do, to kind of play around with that, you know, manipulating people.
Okay, let's talk a bit about Thor.
I worked on Thor when it was first. I'm trying to think. It was a while ago. I worked on it. I was an early hire. Kenneth Branagh had just been hired to direct. Marvel was still, you know, in sort of its infancy. They didn't really have much in the way of like a huge operation. So when I first started going to work, it was actually at the Marvel offices, which was cool. Um, it was in West LA somewhere, and they had like all these posters and comic books and statues and things like that. It was really fun. And then Marvel, the motion picture wing, kind of had finalized a deal to buy a studio here in Los Angeles. So then we started working out of that. I was just a production PA in the production office, really uninteresting stuff. I got lunch for Kenneth Branagh a lot. But I was there, I would like bring them coffee in the midst of conversations. So I got to hear really interesting early conversations about the story. They were kind of trying to break what this story was going to be about. The whole concept of like Thor coming to Earth was sort of written in the room with Canon and a team of writers and the producers. And then I was there for the casting, and I got to watch a whole bunch of the what do you call them?
Avengers.
Screen tests.
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of and I got to like deliver. I mean, this is the exciting job of a PA in some regards. I drove all over town delivering scripts, secret scripts to these secret actors who were never supposed to, we're not supposed to know if they got the part or not. And that was like a whole bunch of fun. They actually set up a little bit of a set, and they put on wigs for the Thor actors, and they had like a funny little hammer. So it was fun. I don't know what I can say. I signed stuff, but I know that they were initially really excited about Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston technically auditioned for Thor, and Kenneth Branagh was like in love with this guy and was really pumped about him to begin with. And then eventually Chris Hemsworth came along, and they thought that would be a good pair. But they kind of had Loki pegged first, and then along came Thor to match, which I thought was kind of cool. But then the production. What's that?
Did you get to meet the cast?
No, I met some of the folks who didn't get the part. I ended up they pushed the production. They were, I think when I got off, they were going to go to Spain to scout stuff there, which the stuff that they ended up shooting in New Mexico, all the desert stuff. They were looking at Spain to shoot. And then money or script or something fell through, so they ended up taking what's called a hiatus, and that's when I got another job because I was only making a couple $100 a week and I needed money. So I didn't get to do the whole film, but I was there in the early days when they were kind of doing all this kind of cool prep work. So that was really fun to see, because I think that's the earliest I've ever gotten on a movie, like a big movie. And it was cool to just kind of be there for all those kind of early things. Kenneth Branagh got the part. The art director was saying, because he said no helmets, like that was like his big take on it. He's this big Shakespearean director, so they knew he could handle the language of Asgard. But his whole thing was like no helmets. That's not the thing they were taking. It's going to be much more streamlined, much more realistic kind of take on these characters, and that's what they really got excited about. There was all this art all over the. Kenneth had his own. He had an office, and then he had a gallery essentially that was just covered with corkboard, in 8x10 pictures, like an entire room just covered with potential designs of Thor, of the Destroyer, of Asgard. That was really cool, just to kind of be part of all that.
So what movie or TV show have you been on or been planning on to be on? Like,
I was on an episode of Better Call Saul, 2 episodes of Better Call Saul. That was a lot of fun. I got to, I was Ray Seahorn's law, what do you call it, when, not partner, but, her law assistant, one of her law assistants. So that was cool. She was so nice. One of the interesting things about that show, I worked with Bob as well for a scene, but one of the interesting things was mostly with Ray. They the actors on that show love acting, and I think you can see it on the show. You know, it's like a very good prestige drama, and they will rehearse away from the production. They rehearse on their own. They organize their own rehearsals, and when we were half an hour or so before we went in front of camera, Ray brought us all into a room and we just ran the dialogue together over and over and over again, you know, just to kind of to warm us up and get us used to it and get us juiced. And then you step on set and the director has adjustments and all that good kind of stuff, you know, and um, it kind of progresses from there. But I thought that was really cool that they care so much so as to take that time. And I think it trickles down from Bob Odenkirk, um, who, you know, wants it to be the best show on television. So he puts in that time. A lot of times, I think it's quite that vital to the cast that they are that honed and that keyed into what they're doing on that day. You know, as far as TV shows, I'd like to do, I'd love to do something sci-fi. I think that'd be a hoot. I don't know anything specific yet, but
So like WandaVision or like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah. Oh yeah, something like that. Something fun. Something with techno babble that you have to kind of get out of your mouth. That'd be great.
Who's your favorite MCU
I look
character?
forward to that. Who's my favorite MCU character? Oh, that's an interesting question. Do you know, I really like Captain America.
Oh,
People kind of poo-poo the first one, but I really enjoyed that one. And man, when at the end of Infinity War,
Endgame.
the last line of dialogue, I think what, part one, is that Infinity War?
Yeah.
When the last line of dialogue from Captain America is "My God," that was very exciting. And he killed that moment. That was like a perfect line for him. But yeah, that character of fish out of water, you know, he's got this deep dark past that he can never go back to, but he's got to do the right thing regardless of it all. He's got to plow forward and do the right thing. And then when it turns out he thought he'd been doing the right thing and he's not doing the right thing, he turns gears and he, you know, brings down this gigantic government organization. I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty good on him.
So, what is it like to be an actor or a cast member on Darman?
It's a hoot. Like I said, so I don't have any control over when I get to go or when my videos are published. I just kind of sit around. But every time I get an email from them, I go, ooh, like, what do they got? What are we doing this time? And what we get is, we used to get the character, but we don't even get that, I don't think, anymore. We just get the title. And it's, you know, the title is often different from what ultimately goes to air. But it's like, you know, man yells at his wife in public. Do you want to do it? I think like, yeah, sure, I'll totally do it. I have no idea what to expect from this. And then you get the script and you kind of open it up and you figure out what your part is. And they'll often, I think you can see at the end credits, but they use, they don't really use names all the time. Occasionally they'll use a name, but they usually use like the character type. So even then, like you get the character name and you get the title. It's like, we want you to come play the part of waiter in Man Yells at Wife in Public. It's like, is that going to be a good part? I guess I'll say yes. And then you open it up and the waiter is the guy who has the "so you see" moment and he accidentally yelled at his wife one time, and you know, like that. So it's like kind of a funny little system that they have set up. But yeah, I mean, again, it is so much fun to go and be there. Rushi and Ruben are the two kind of lead directors. Ruben has been there since the beginning. He's the one who has kind of set the look of the show. And they are so nice. And like they just make allowances for the different, like, you know, people come actors come with different skill sets, different abilities, different um, histories of work that they've done. Sometimes this is their first time on set. Sometimes they're well seasoned, and they are just so kind and easygoing with everybody. They're polite, and you want to work for that. You want to, when someone comes up to you and has a note and they're rude about it, you kind of don't want to do that note. But if they're joyous, if they laugh with you, they ask you to make an adjustment, or they call you set, you're there. Like you run to set to go work for them, with them, and that's the environment that is established, and it comes down from the top, and everybody feels it. And Ruben has said this. I don't know if he said it in a public setting. If you're not a nice person, they don't have you back. Like they only want nice people. And you can have a bad day. They can feel it if you're having a bad day or whatever. You can have, you can be the type of actor who stays in a certain energy. Like I'm the bad guy in this one. I'm going to stay in a certain energy. They can feel that. They know that. You're there to work. But yeah, it's always fun. You get these little scripts. You read through these little scripts. You show up on the day. We usually do a read through, and then we do just start shooting, and they shoot everything. We shoot so much footage on this show. It is, I don't know how they cut it down to 5 minutes sometimes. We just shoot for hours and hours and hours, shooting all over the place. Everybody's Barry and Carlos and Noel, the sound guy. There's like the standard crew. Mario, they're all just so much fun and so kind. That's all that can be said. Not all that can be said, but that's like the most important part that can be said about going to work there. And then we get to work with a lot of the same actors, which is a joy. Sometimes you get a new actor in there, which is exciting because you have to learn their style and learn their moods, and that makes you work a little harder. And sometimes you're with Nick Sarando, and it's going to be fun, and you just enjoy yourself because you get to play with him differently. Like Catherine and I, like I said about our chemistry, we haven't done a video in a little while, actually. We'll probably do one soon. But she and I can just play so differently. The way that she and I act against each other is just kind of inherently different, because we know what the other one's going to throw at us. What's like a good, it's just like playing ball. Some people are really good at throwing it right in your hand. Some people like to kind of throw you one over here every now and then. And Catherine and I know kind of just inherently how to like, I'm gonna throw you one over here and see how you take that. Oh, you did that, cool. You throw that back at me. I'm gonna do that. And it's really fun to work with her.
Okay. Could you please give us your favorite "So You See" moment or quote?
Oh gosh, favorite "So You See." I don't know if I could. Oh wow. I'll give you my first, because that was kind of interesting. Here's a little interesting behind the scenes moment too. I got, oh no, because it was Catherine did the first "So You See" that I saw. When I first went on, I think I had watched one, but I didn't realize that "So You See" was so integral to the fabric of a show. And Catherine had this "So You See" line. It was, you see, da 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 da. So you see, da 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 da. And the way we do those is we roll the camera. You do your first speech. You see, when you were telling her that she was upset, you didn't really realize. And then we all take a pause. We all reset ourselves. And then you pick up with, so you see, when you said that, We don't stop rolling the camera. All that that monologue that happens over all of the slow mo stuff, that's all recorded later. Any reactions that we have, we kind of jump to. So, like on that first, so you see that Catherine did. I'm sitting there, I'm listening. What do you mean, I don't love my daughter? She says, "You see, da da da." I'm listening, and then we all take a pause, and I like quick well up some tears. And then she goes into, so you see, when you only pay about attention to your son, um, and to do that kind of like quick, acting, uh, is always a challenge and kind of fun. So I don't know if I have a personal favorite. So you see, but that one definitely stands out. My first that I didn't even get to say. My first that I was part of.
Could you make us a so you see on the spot? Maybe.
Can I make you a sexy on the spot? Yeah, sure, probably. Uh, Give me a topic.
Um, hmm.
Let's do this together. Let's workshop this.
COVID-19.
COVID-19. Oh boy.
You know what, Colin?
Um,
Darman doesn't have a COVID-19 video.
there are a couple actually.
They are?
Yeah, they came out early COVID. There's one with Catherine where she's wearing a mask. They shame her for wearing a mask. Pretty good. There are so many, dude. Like 3 a week come out now. They're gonna make more. There are so many of these. It's so crazy. The volume of output.
Yeah.
Do I still have to do it? So you see, when you yelled at that person in the supermarket, they got so mad at you because you weren't wearing a mask. So you see, you should really wear your mask when you go outside so that you don't get other people infected.
That was amazing. um, let's talk about your experience on the Real Viral Actor show.
Oh yeah. So it was. I mean, my involvement is kind of tangential in it. Um, Nick Sarando, I think, is kind of the main drive behind it. I know that Carl was a big part of it. Carl unfortunately passed away recently, and he was a big proponent of it. The whole concept being, we're actors, we like to work, and Dar is a very specific type of acting. Wouldn't it be fun to try some other kinds of acting together? Um, so that's kind of the big thrust of the show, of the channel. It's still getting off the ground. We're still kind of trying to figure out what that exactly means and what these shorts could be. I just directed one recently with like all the Darman teens, Devin and Aiden and Sophia and Briani, and it was a lot of fun. They all, Kyle, they're all, again, just a hoot. They all showed up. They knew their lines. They played. They cared. So that movie probably will come out soon, I think. But I think at the moment Nick is kind of putting together like a whole package before he starts releasing too much. He was doing the interviews to kind of like just drive some traffic. We did our holiday card. That was kind of fun. We all read part of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." But yeah, I think that the main instigation behind the channel is to play with each other and do it for fans of Darman who want to see these actors doing other things, like just kind of, spreading their wings or whatever.
Oh, okay. So, what's something that's so difficult for you when you first started your career as an actor?
That was so difficult?
Yes, like your stepping stones, like things you had to overcome to be where you are right now.
Well, that's an interesting question. I think it's all a continued process. Um, there is I guess kind of like what I was saying. When you're a kid, there's a sort of blind optimism, a concept of just playing and going and having fun. Um, so you don't really think about the potential pitfalls until you start trying to feed your family with it. And the hardest part is being okay with this concept of rejection, where you can look down. Oftentimes, whenever you're trying out for a part, you just have like a 3 sentence thing, like this guy just recently lost his wife. He's tall. You're like, okay, I could play that. I could be a guy who just recently lost his wife. I'm kind of tall. Let me put myself up for this. Um, so you have to kind of develop this thick skin, and it's something that I'm certainly still developing. Every time I see a part that I don't, I submit myself for a part, the agent submits me for a part, that I'm pretty sure I could just easily just go read for. Even if I don't get the job, I could read for it, and I don't even get that. I think to myself, okay, well, I gotta like redo my headshot. I gotta redo my reel. Why did it not work? Well, the reason it didn't work is multifaceted and way beyond me. Um, so you have to kind of develop that conceptual thick skin, to deal with the constant rejection. Um, as far as when you're actually there, like you got the job, time to show up, time to go to work. Um, I think probably what I most had to learn, um, or what people looking to do this job should learn, is just how ready you have to be. Um, Nobody is willing to hold your hand and kind of guide you through the process. You show up at the day one read of a play, or at 6 o'clock in the morning for your movie call, and they expect you to be there. Like, you have the job, so work, right? Like, be ready, know exactly what you're doing. And there is the element of creativity, of spontaneity, of collaboration, that a part of all of it, of course. When you show up, a director wants to be able to manipulate your performance, but they don't want to have to explain to you what your character is. They don't want to have to worry about you not knowing your lines. They don't want to have to worry about any of those kinds of things. So when you show up, you got to be 100% on and ready. Um, and that's probably something that, certainly starting as like a kid, that didn't really occur to me, that nobody cares that it's your first day. you know Especially if you're like coming onto a television show that's on its like eighth episode or something like that, and they just want to get you dressed and get you on set. They don't care that you haven't eaten breakfast or like whatever. Like, um, eventually people want to talk to you. They want to hear about your life, but they don't care about your problems. They don't care about your issues. They're there to work. You're there to work. Go to work. So that's definitely something that I don't know if I had to learn any kind of hard way, but I quickly became aware of. And I would caution people interested in this business to be constantly aware of it. It is very much a business. It is very much a professional atmosphere, as silly as it can be, as you know, as unimportant as it ultimately is. We are just putting on clothes that aren't necessarily ours, saying words that aren't ours, and playing make believe. It's really not prescient stuff, but there's so much work behind it. There are so many people there that could be spending time with their families. There's so much money being put into it. You gotta be ready. You gotta be ready.
Okay. We've got another message or question in chat from Game Time. How do
Cool.
you cry on demand?
It's a little physical. It's a little emotional. It's a little technique. When I was in high school, my acting teacher, Mr. Mel, who was this enormous man, um, there's a thing called a black box. It's a type of theater. It's a small room, usually with like folding chairs. Painted all black, black curtains, and then you get a couple lights on it. We had class in these black boxes, and he would sit at the back by the lighting board. So these lights would be on you, and you couldn't see him, and he would just sit in the back of this space, and you'd perform your scene, and you'd do your scene, and you'd wait. And you could just hear him from the back of the room, like breathing. That was, and then he'd curse. I don't know if I can curse here, but he'd say the S word. I am not putting that on my stage. So he's like this big, gruff guy. Also, a lovable, huggable teddy bear. You'd go up and you'd sit in his office during lunch and he'd regale you with stories and you'd have a lot of fun. But very much like, again, like you're there to do the work. He taught the method acting. And on the day where we learned to cry, he brought us all into the black box and we sat in these uncomfortable folding chairs and he turned the lights down and he walked us through the process of a funeral of a loved one. Like he did like a meditation or whatever. And that's sort of like how, we started to kind of unlock the concept. Now, every performance, you're not supposed to walk yourself through the funeral of a loved one, but there is, if you're really cooking in a scene, you're gonna want to kind of cry. You're gonna want to feel those emotions because you are theoretically in the moment. You are experiencing these things in real time. You've memorized your dialogue well enough that you're just saying it. It's rote. You didn't memorize how do you do. You memorized how do you do, and now you're on the scene. Now you go, how do you do? You can throw it out in any direction because you're living in the moment and you are receiving something from somebody and you're giving something to somebody, and then you can kind of like feel it in your eye when you're doing it right. You can feel it coming and your brain is going push it out, and you're saying your lines. So it comes from training. It comes from some type of naturalism. It comes from a physical thing. And it's just kind of this goulash that you kind of build up over time. That I built. I can't speak for every actor because I think Sophia can just cry. I think Catherine can just cry. But for me, it's part physical, it's part training, it's part imagination on the day.
Okay, and then we've got another one that just popped up in chat.
Ooh.
Does acting on all such social issues affect your real life negatively?
No. I have not done anything. If I understand the question correctly, I've not pushed any bad social issues. Even if like when I played the character who left his wife for cancer, like I like playing a villain every night. I enjoy that. But even then, I have yet to do anything that I think put real bad into the world. And I wouldn't want to do anything that put real bad into the world. My wife is a director as well. And we just talk about, there are certain situations that we need to, as a society, talk about, like, abuse and things like that. It's a conversation that we have to have. We have to figure out why people abuse, why we allow abuse to happen. But we don't need to put out there into the world things where abuse is wanton, and like and met without consequence and put up for entertainment. That's not what we need to do. Every now and then, you gotta have something violent in your story. You have to have something that's not, really positive in your story. Absolutely. That's otherwise, it's a tightrope to walk. But yeah, I have not done anything, as far as I know, that is like socially terrible. I've played a volley of characters. I would like to continue playing interesting characters that do interesting things, that have provocative things to talk about. but I would not like to find myself on the receiving end of having played like, I don't know, somebody who people go like, well, no, but you're actually a rapist. Like I saw that movie. No, I'm not. No. Please don't think of me. I would not like to be there. I have not yet.
So we recently interviewed an actor with a big role in the upcoming blockbuster movie Godzilla vs. King Kong. What are your opinions on the recently released movie? And do you plan to be on the big screen anytime soon?
If I can help it. There's no direct plans, but absolutely. Like I said, the feature that I just did, hopefully that'll go to a screen or two. That'd be exciting. But yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I mean, the thing that is funny about this business is I am very happy. I have 2 kids and a wife who all theoretically love me. I'm square. I'm set. I want to act for money because money will make my wife continue to love me. So I need that. And in order to act for money, you have to have a certain level of bankability and recognizability. Like I could make a very good career. I very very much could make a very good career of just being a character actor who shows up in things, and that would make me unbelievably happy because I would be able to go do what I enjoy doing, do what I love doing, supporting the people that I love. That would make me so happy. But so there comes this funny little concept of it's not really fame. I'm not chasing fame, but I am certainly chasing some recognizability so that I can continue to do this. Like I don't want to be out to dinner with my family and have to like make my kids sit through somebody talking to me. Like I'd love to say hello to somebody on the street and meet with people who my work has entertained. That would be great, but I don't want to reach a certain level where I cannot live my life. I love taking my kids to the museum on a weekly basis. Like I don't want to stop doing that. A pandemic has stopped me from doing that, but as soon as I can do that again, I don't want to stop. But I apparently this business says there has to be a certain amount of thing. I think I got off on a tangent. I would love to be on the big screen. I don't know how to do that without being without.
So you're a family man, a producer, an actor. How do you balance both of those things at once?
I don't know yet. It's really hard. When my mom had 3 kids our age, she took off from work. My wife is the main breadwinner of our family. She's not taking off from work. So I am mostly at home with the kids, but then, I get little gigs here and there. And it's hard, thank God we're kind of both in their lives to help each other, to help them. I have my in-laws are here right now. My mother came out for a long time last year to help with all that, but yeah, I don't really know how people do it exactly, other than you just kind of take it day by day. And my wife has turned down work. I've turned down work to be there for our little family. Not every single job is a conversation, but it certainly comes up. It has to. We want to give our kids a really good, healthy, happy life. We want to give ourselves health and happiness. And sometimes my wife and I are both ambitious people. We want to work. We like this business. We like doing what we do. We want to do more. We want to find more interesting things. We want to find cool stories to tell. So sometimes that means the kids have to go to a babysitter. Sometimes that means, we don't go to the zoo today because I have to do this. And, we'll go next time, so it's a constant balance. It's fun. It's crazy. It's hard.
So pre-COVID, did you have any memorable fan encounters?
No, I've only had a couple. I had one. I was at a supermarket with my father-in-law. That was nice. The guy said, "Hi, I saw you on the Dhar Man. Great." Um, I had one. I was at the park with my daughter recently, and a little girl said hi to me. She asked me to say hi to Dar. Dar, hi, if you're watching. And then I just got my COVID vaccine last week, and one of the nurses recognized me. That one was kind of funny because I was masked and wearing sunglasses, standing outside getting my vaccine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, like that, I'm perfectly happy with that whole thing. I know that people are enjoying Dar, and that's what makes me happy. I think of myself less as an artist and more as an entertainer. Um, I want people to find joy in the work, and I know that they do, and that makes me happy. I don't necessarily need uh, everybody coming up to say it directly to my face. Every now and then, it's great. Yeah, but all the time.
Yeah. And then, how has COVID affected you? Seeing that it's been pretty much 1 year since it's been declared a pandemic.
Um, I, it's hard. It's hard to say exactly. I've drastically, irrevocably changed me, and yet, you know, my little family unit has remained healthy. My kids have thrived. They're learning. They're happy. My wife and I have a great relationship after spending a year indoors together. Um, it has really theater being a theater actor and a theater director has been so joyous to me. And the LA wing of that career had just sort of started to blossom. Last March, we were getting ready to do another play with the people who I did the play with as a Klingon. We were going to do a big Roman epic. I was going to get beheaded on stage. There's going to be all sorts of crazy stuff. Um, and that has been a genuine loss to like my little heart and soul. I've directed a couple virtual plays, but there's just something indescribable about being in a theater, either as an audience member or as an actor. And when you just kind of connect with human beings on that level, and you all there's a study that says if you're an audience member in a theater, all of your hearts start beating as one. You really do just connect, and that has been a great loss. I am maybe despite how much I've been talking, a kind of a shy person, um, but I am an extrovert. I suck energy from human beings, and that has been a great line. Like I like to just go sit at a bar and have a beer and like read a script that I'm working on or do a crossword puzzle. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to do anything like that. But just sitting there, sucking in all this energy from human beings, um, revives me. And I not being able to do that has been a bummer. Um, but those losses, those little losses, pale in comparison to the joy that this house has had, to the luck that we've had that nobody in my family has gotten sick. And we're ideally on something of a downtrend in as far as the pandemic goes, and human beings have gotten through hundreds of pandemics in our great span. We're going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. It's going to right itself. We will come out of this all right. And if we can keep our personal little units intact, we're good.
So, what's something you never thought you would actually do in your career, but actually did end up doing? It could be acting, it could
Uh,
be anything that you wanted to do, but actually ended up doing it.
my wife directed a short film that I was in uh, called The Tree, which I think you can find online. Um, and it's about a guy who's got terrible vertigo, got really bad. He can't stand up straight, and his wife is leaving him, and in an attempt to keep her, you have vertigo.
I
I'm
do.
sorry.
Yes.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, maybe you should watch this. Maybe it'll be cathartic. um, he climbs this tree and attempts to cut it down in an attempt to save the marriage. Um, and he falls out of the tree at the end. Spoiler alert. So she put me up in a tree with a wire attached to me,
I've actually
but I had
seen
to
that
sit
clip.
up.
Yes.
You have?
Yeah. You have like a chainsaw in your mouth or something when you
Yeah,
climb the tree.
I
Yeah.
saw in my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't know how he's going to cut down the tree with that little saw, but that's the plan. He's going to use that little saw. So yeah, I was up in this tree for all day, and I guess it's a two-part story. So I have claustrophobia, and I've kind of managed it. I figured it out how to manage it, but they put me up in this tree, and there's like stunt guys standing around me, and they have the camera people, and there's a crane, and everybody's kind of there, and I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like up in this tree for a while. It's no problem. And then everybody moves to go get another shot, and they remove like the ladder that was there for me just in case anything happened. And now I am like sat up in this tree. Nobody's around. I like don't have my phone. Like I have like no connection to anything, and my wife happened to walk by, and she's got a million things on her plate. She's directing this thing. They got a crane. They got a guy up a tree. She's got too much going on. But I go, Anna, let's go. Get me out of this tree. Get me out of this. Shoot. Let's shoot something. Let's go. Let's go. She's very kind. Got me out of the tree. But and then the second part of that was they dropped me out of the tree. Um, so what the bough of the tree was like here, and they put me on. I'm on the wire, and they raised me up like to here, like just a few feet from the tree. I think I could have grabbed it. Maybe I had to like steady myself. They put me right there, and they dropped me just below, like Tom Cruise, at full speed to the ground. And then I stayed there for just a half a second, and then they fully dropped me. And they had put like a little. I fell on gravel. They put like a little pad under there to catch me, so I wasn't hurt. I was working with one of the best stuntmen in the business, Al Godo. um, and I had no fear or anything like that. But it was. I didn't think I'd ever really do that, like do my own stunts, get dropped. That was cool.
Going back to what you just said, what's the craziest thing that ever happened to you on set?
The craziest thing that ever happened to me on set.
It could be with another actor, or it
Um,
could just be like a crazy story you might have.
well, I do. It's not on set. Something that's jumping to mind immediately is I was in a play, um, and a guy had a diabetic episode right there on stage, and that was pretty wild. He his I mean, I'm not diabetic. I don't know all that much about it, but his brain shut off, and he didn't know where he was, and he didn't know what he was doing. And we're there in costume. It was Much Ado About Nothing, a Shakespeare play. We were speaking in high verse, and it was nowhere near his exit. But we had to get him. You got to get this guy fed. You got to get this guy safe. You got to make sure that he's okay. And you got to, like, theoretically the show's got to go on. You got to keep this thing going. So you kind of improvise Shakespeare for a few minutes, and you get this guy off. And one of the other actors was like, so she knew exactly what was happening to him. She knew how to take care of him. He got taken care of. But when stuff like that happens, it's a real trip. Like, I mean, we're probably all too highfalutin for our own good. We could have just stopped the show, but instead we're like, the show must go on. We got to make this work, get this guy out of there. But I don't know if there's anything that's happened to me personally. I had a panic attack on stage once, but I kind
Oh,
of
you had panic attacks?
managed through that.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it goes away for anybody. This concept of fear on stage. But yeah, I will every show, there's a moment in every performance where I gauge the exits and I think to myself, how I can get out of this. I can leave. They'll figure out how to get on without me, and I'll duck out here. But one time it was like a full on panic attack. It was really terrible. But hey, the show went on. Nobody knew anything. It was just all in here going.
Yeah, those.
No, thank you very much.
So, what's your favorite Darman episode or video?
Yeah, the other lawyer one that I did is a favorite, where Melvin was going to go to jail, and I got to play a little like CSI Darman. That was fun. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. The cancer one sticks out as being pretty good. A couple where I've been like a bad guy. The one where Catherine and I, she's dealing with postpartum depression. That one, the experience on that was so much fun. My wife can't watch it. She thinks that my character is like totally reprehensible, and he is. He's redeemed at the end, but not a good guy. But Catherine Rushi and I, the process of that one, of like finding these moments, and not to sound too precious about it or whatever, because we still do play it in stylized Darman's, style. Like we heighten everything a little bit, but it was just kind of like we could find the honesty in it. Rushi is like very pro finding that. Like the first several minutes of it, we're whispering to each other, "What's going on? What are you doing?" Like doing that seems like such a far-fetched concept, but that's the reality. She's holding a baby, so we start whispering. We come in at the end of the day. Catherine was actually a little tired, no fault of hers. She's like actually kind of tired. So she's sort of laying on the bed, and I went down and I sat next to her and I put my head on the bed. And she was like, "Whoa, what are you guys doing?" That's how we're going to play the scene. And it just becomes this much more intimate moment rather than what may have happened was she would sit on the bed, I would walk in and I would talk to her standing. Maybe I would sit next to her on the bed. But instead, we kind of come down and our little baby is between us and we're face to face, and it just becomes a much more kind of human thing. And playing on that episode was a lot of fun. And anytime that we can kind of do that, I love it.
Okay. And then we have two last chat questions, both from Rogue.
Oh boy.
Do you like acting in Darman Studios?
I do. I do a lot. Yeah, I've been so long-winded. I apologize. I absolutely do, because for the reasons I've said, it's great fun.
And then, how did you connect with the guy? I'm gonna guess him in Dar from Darman.
How did I get involved with it? I entered an audition, or no, maybe John reached out to me. There used to be a producer named John, who was a hoot. He was a lot of fun, really super nice guy, standard Dart people, and he, I think, reached out to me on a backstage.com. If you're an actor or looking to be an actor, get a thing on backstage.com. I use it all the time to cast stuff. He wrote to me just saying like, "Hey, I saw your profile. Would you mind reading for this?" I read for it. He liked it. I technically got the job, and then I couldn't do it because I had another job come up, in between like my reading and the booking. So I ended up not being able to do that, and I thought, okay, well that was it. Like I think it was just billed as like a short film. I didn't know what Darman was. And then John got back to me later and said, "Hey, we have another one. We're doing another short. Can you do this?" And I said, "Oh, cool. Yeah." I didn't have to audition for that one. He just kind of gave me the part, showed up, and that's when I learned that it was like a big series of things. And it was still early days. It was only on Facebook. I think they had only come out with a few. Dar had done some on his own. They were still, I think they had come up with the format at that point. Like they had kind of just come up with the format. Because initially, if you go way, way back, I don't know how I don't know, maybe they're only on Facebook. But Dar was actually sort of in them. He was sort of like an Alfred Hitchcock kind of thing. Like he'd walk into the scene and talk about what was happening. So they had kind of they did some animation at some point. So they were kind of still working out what they were going to do. But that's how I just answered an audition and got really lucky. And they keep having me back for some reason, and I keep enjoying it. So.
So what's the most funniest moments you've had with another actor or cast member from Darman or outside of Darman?
On the episode that we did, the sister not moving out with Mare and Chaz and Catherine, that one was really silly fun. Mare Mulroney is a fantastic actor, and there was something particular about that part that she was playing. Her character was just Mare was playing it so honestly, and her character is so disconnected. She's like drinking the orange juice and talking about her package that came and eating the sandwich, and just every move Mare did was so funny to me. And we've been like begging to do like a really funny one, like a legitimately funny one. And I think we just kind of decided to do that on our own by, again, Rushi being there and Rushi being a little more, he allows us to kind of like follow the thread of things. So Catherine and I got to like do like the like awkward laugh and like look at each other and stuff like that. Just, I don't know if it's a very funny moment, but just like that, just that experience on set. We're just cracking jokes the whole time and making each other laugh with our performances and just finding the joy in each other on stage. Just little gaffes, like people saying the wrong word on the Klingon play. How this isn't bad language, but this is maybe like a skosh blue, if you don't mind. And it's not even that bad, but okay. On this play that I did, we're doing this high Elizabethan language. We're playing Klingons, and there's a character named Mycetes, and this actress turns to him and calls him my titis accidentally, which gets a bit of a laugh from all of us. My titis, ha ha ha. And we all get backstage, we laugh at it, we joke with each other, and then a couple days later, another actor in the same exact scene. What's the line? Kasane is the other character. The line is Kasane and the rest take these prisoners to the. And the guy says, Kasane and the breast. Take it. Like, I totally accidentally. So then we got Kasane and the breast and my TTs. And I broke on stage, but luckily I didn't have a big line at that moment. And we're all lined up to fight. So I'm doing this anyway in the Klingon. Doing this. So I'm going, laughing and trying to make it look like I'm angry instead of like joyous. But again, I don't know, there's just something about the high octane energy of what you're doing, and any little goof like that is hilarious and can just set you off because you're used to like the pattern of things going correctly, and then somebody throws in something like the breast or my TDs, and you just giggle like a little kid, and you just kind of accidentally lose it.
Well, Colin, thank you for joining the What the Hell Are We Doing podcast. It's been an honor to interview you. I'm a long time
for me, thank you.
I'm very nervous to even like talk to you, but like I'm a big fan of yours.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a ball. I watched a couple of episodes, and I'm happy to be part of it. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Buddy, go ahead and go do your segment.
Yes. So as you know, and you were saying you watched all our podcasts, at the end of every podcast, we like to add a little speech. So I heard that you had a bit of a speech prepared.
Oh, no, do I? No, I don't know if I do. What's my speech? What do I need to do?
Motivational.
Or just an inspirational,
inspirational
speech of some sort.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, okay. Well, it's not. It's going to be totally off the cuff. Um, what I have learned in life is to go full tilt. I have a little quote on my lamp here. I'll share this. This is a quote that I have on my lamp and on my desk, sitting staring at me all the time. Um, it's from Bertolt Brecht. Simpler and with more laughter. Um, and I think that is how you got to approach life. Um, don't be afraid to like hold back. Go full tilt. Go crazy on life. Do all the things. Try all the stuff. And from that you will reap joy, and then take that joy into everything. There's nothing so serious. A surgeon, a brain surgeon, is a surgeon because they love some aspect of that, right? They're doing something incredibly important, incredibly vital, incredibly difficult. But man, they either like love poking around on that funny little juicy brain, or they love helping people, and they bring joy to their work, and therefore they can get through it. If they're so serious about it, they're going to hurt somebody. They're going to do something wrong. They're going to get mad at somebody. In all things, laughter. Just bring joy to your life, and joy will find you. There's no reason to take yourself or anything too seriously. You know, be good to yourself, be good to other people, and we're all in this together. We got this.
Awesome. That was an amazing speech. So everyone who's watching the stream or watching this on video, go check out Colin. All the links are in the description. Go check out his Insta, his TikTok, his Facebook, and this new video on Darman.